This is going to be a very different video. No funny clips, no snark, no talking dog. This is something that ultimately affects all of us, creators and viewers alike. We've suspected that stuff like this has been going on for years, but now we're actually seeing evidence that's pretty hard to ignore. It all comes down to censorship, and this platform itself is complicit. It's happening on 3 different fronts, and while I have multiple examples on each, I'm just going to touch on the biggest examples from each one of these fronts. I'm going to be vague on some of the nouns in tradition of typical YouTube speak to avoid triggering any algorithm. There is a certain show, we'll say, put out by The Mouse that's garnering more backlash than The Last Jedi, and that's saying something. And The Mouse has covertly been striking back, but their efforts are getting less and less covert. One arm of their counteroffensive has been to use show media to attack other creators, the biggest example being the video Looper put out attacking The Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic.
Some audience members have issues with the show's diversity and LGBTQ+ themes, and those should be dismissed. However, viewers should genuinely examine the legitimate criticisms the Acolyte has received. Cultural critics like The Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic have dubbed the show lore-breaking for its recent revelations, but their commentary isn't productive. Rather, it encourages bigotry and hatred over a show that's just getting started.
That falsehood festival of a video has since been taken down. In the second example, they appear to have leveraged this platform itself as a willing accomplice. The biggest Star Wars channel on the platform, Star Wars Theory, had one of his videos about this subject demonetized. He appealed, asking for a manual review by a human, and they stood by the decision, as you can see here. It's so frustrating, and the important thing to note here is that all Theory said in his video was how the show had finally united the fan base. He even goes out of his way to encourage fans to keep the discourse polite and civil. Yet he was still punished for it, no doubt due to his high-profile nature. The final example is perhaps one that's both hilarious and sinister simultaneously. I said in my last video, that appears to be throttled by the way, that it's important not to go after the actors. They're just doing a job. They're not responsible for the content. The content of their character definitely gets some scrutiny on how they behave outside the show, however. Having apparently learned nothing from the lessons that Rachel Zegler taught the rest of the world, the lead actress for this show, and I'll leave it at that as I don't know if her very name is an algorithm trigger, put out a horrible diss track. It would be insulting to call it a song. When she posted it, she said, "Happy Juneteenth, and to those who are flooding me with intolerable racism since it took me 72 hours on my laptop to make this song, you've got 72 hours to respond." So she deliberately asks for a response. And of course, a lot of creators were happy to oblige. So what happens next? She slams them with copyright claims. A deliberate Trojan horse, which is obviously why I'm not showing any of it here. The sad thing is that I used to have a positive opinion of her, but the content of her character has changed that. The great irony, of course, is that while they try to justify their behavior by throwing false labels on the fans, the very company they work for is in hot water for literally being racist.
Certainly, there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male person.
Just kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
how would they say it?
There's no way we're hiring a white male person. They say
like straight to you, or okay.
Yeah. They'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
According to these videotapes, Disney blatantly discriminates against white men in particular.
I think I'm sort of well prepared for it. I'm well positioned for it. But as far as Disney's concerned, I'm a white male. That's not who they're looking to promote at the moment.
As a white guy, even Michael has his own doubts about the possibility for advancement for himself at Disney. In fact, Michael actually got to experience Disney's discrimination against white males firsthand.
I've been at the company 11 years now, so I have friends in HR and I have friends in those divisions, and they're like, look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for the shop. They're just not. That's not who they want.
They even passed over a qualified half-black person for a promotion because they didn't look black enough.
It will be interesting to see where this goes, especially considering there's another tape coming out soon. But even at this moment, here we have a senior VP of the mouse caught on tape confirming highly illegal activity that we've suspected for years. And as of the recording of this video, no major news outlets are covering this. I wonder why. I'm going to continue to fight the good fight. I'm going to praise things that are good and give constructive feedback on whatever falls short. For example, Rogue One was good. Andor was good. The first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian were really good. In fact, that show gives you some insight into the thought process at the mouse. The season 2 finale, with the appearance of Luke Skywalker, broke the internet with praise. Most companies that want to make money would double down on that. Instead, a certain somebody stuck her nose in and deliberately pivoted the show away from quality. Agenda over quality is their motto, and the proof of that is on tape now. The mindset needs to change if they want to survive. But the bottom line, my friends, is this. Support your local creators. Subscribe to their channels. Like their videos. Doesn't matter if it's me, Theory, Drinker, or your mom. Some of these creators have bigger audiences than this show, and they hate that. I saw this meme, and I thought it was incredibly appropriate. Props to whoever made it.